Hey, good morning, PracTacular home crew. Hope you're having a great one. We are rolling into school, a beautiful 32 degrees at 7:27 a.m. And we got a little snow last night. So 4 to 6 here in town. It's very crunchy. That's what we call it when it's scraped off the roads and parking lot. But it's still icy and slippery as I watch two students slipping and sliding over on the parking lot. But anyhow, we're still rolling into school here. I'm trying to get myself a parking spot between all the cars, and some have snow, some don't have snow. Some spots have been plowed, some have not been plowed. So we got to take it really slow on days like this, because this is when you end up taking a slip and fall and heading to our ED, which is never fun. So we're gonna take it slow as we get in and out of here. And matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and stop filming and make sure I'm okay getting out. So stand by, I'll be right back. All right, so this is what I mean by being crunchy. Listen to this. Crunchy. All right, we gotta walk through a little bit of snow here to get over to semi-dry, but here we go. All right, let me show you the beauty shot. Hold on. There it is. Fresh snow. Looks like a powder day up there. But we still got clouds. Storm's still hanging in, so we should get a little more, I think. Yeah, I'm just getting the lights turned on, and check this out. We are a little warm this morning. So we've got, again, a broken furnace controller or something. This is day 2 or 3 where it's just cranking nonstop 24/7. We're at about 81 degrees, so I should have worn my Bermuda shorts or something. But hey, anyhow, let's get back into a little bit of heads up as we start this new day. So stand by. I got to get my shop shoes on, my snow boots off. Stand by. All right, so let's switch out some shoes here. Well, let's talk a little bit about yesterday. I was very unhappy with my after school session, trying to record up in the teaching area without any kind of additional microphone or support. Excuse me. And as a media producer, I watched that footage and it almost made me cry. It was so bad, so I apologize. But you know what? I'm just gonna keep shooting, because that's what I wanna try to do, is get into this rhythm and not let tech get us down. So anyways, snow boots, shop shoes. I feel like Mr. Rogers here. Welcome to my shop. So yeah, wearing the right type of footwear, speaking of personal protection equipment, PPEs, super important. Man, 9 years of teaching here at the shop, which is basically 6,000 square feet of concrete floor. So man, when I spend 5 to 8 to 10 hours sometimes on my feet down here, it hurts. So I've gone through probably 2 or 3 different brands of shoes, and trying to get the right combination to keep myself healthy and relatively pain-free. And so anyways, if you want to know more about my footwear, leave me a comment and I'll tell you what I figured out. But we got to wear these grippers when we're walking across the snow and the crunchy, and then switch out once we're here in the shop. So there we go. Okay, so back to yesterday. So checked Amazon. They're telling me Thursday the new microphone will be here, and that'll be a wonderful day. We will be able to continue to talk to you while we're producing, and you'll be able to hear me no matter if I turn my head or I'm out of frame or I'm doing whatever. That'll be a good thing, because part of being a good educator is speaking clearly and enunciating, and most importantly, they got to hear you. So this new mic system will solve all that, so stay tuned. What else? Again, in reviewing the footage from yesterday, not only was the audio horrible, but the actual visuals in relationship to trying to show you, teach you demonstrate different techniques. Really hard to do with one camera. So I am flashing back to my teaching days when we were in the pandemic and when COVID was happening. I was still a teacher. I was still teaching hands-on content. I had to figure out a way to show people, my students, both high school, I was also teaching for our adult ed education program. So long story short, I'll link a couple of those video sessions and you'll see how I've set it up. Man, I had a 3-camera deal and I was using that computer over there and I had switchers and cool combinations to get all of the angles so that when I was sharing and teaching a particular technique, you at home could really see it and understand it. I think I need to pull that back out, get it set up somewhere here in the shop so that I could go from, hey, this is what we learned. I taught this with the students, but again, I can't show you the students because that's a privacy and ed code thing. But if I have this at a little session, I could step into this little studio area here in the shop, teach you what I taught them so you could see it up close, and then hopefully that becomes super educational for you. All right, I gotta get some prep work done, so I will pick you up after class. All right, stay tuned. Hey, all right, welcome back, PracTacular Home Crew. Here we go. This is what I kind of covered with all 3 periods. This was so important, I decided to go ahead and pull my level 2 students in because we were talking about electrical and our home electrical systems and why it's so important that we keep it unbelievably safe due to the statistics that I shared with them. So I'll link some of that in the show notes or whatever, but it's scary. It gets your attention, the amount of property damage, things that we lost, the loss of lives, and then the billions with a B of dollars that we have to spend each year to repair or replace homes that burnt down due to a fire problem. Electrical problem. So we taught a new lesson where we took how we've been doing it in the past, the old school way, and then we introduced the new way that we're going to now proceed for both the kitchen wall build project for level 1 students and the electrical that we're gonna put into our tiny house with our level 2 students. So everybody agreed, by the way. I was surveying and asking questions and getting their minds to engage. Hold that announcement. There we go. To get their input in regards to, should we keep doing it the old way or should we advance to the new technology in the new way? Well, to 32 students, 100%, everybody said we're switching out to the new way and the new tools because it's safer, it's more efficient, and I can teach you how to do it literally in less than 10 minutes. We can have a new receptacle in and a new switch in, and I'm gonna show you that because we'll cut away and we'll go to our practice wall and get it started. But this is what you need to know first, okay? Old way, old way, old way. Here it is. So there's the plug, all right? Standard 3-pin grounded plug. There is how we make our connections, right? We're seeing brass fixtures, and then we have to strip our wires, and then we have to bring the wire up around that particular screw head and keep everything tucked in nice and safe so that hopefully nothing makes contact with that metal piece because that'll cause an electrical short. Electrical shorts will trip the breaker. If it doesn't trip the breaker, it'll actually create resistance and heat, and all of a sudden things start to break. So old method, both the load wire, the black wire, and the white wire neutral, all of it has that same combination where you have to use that tool to cut the wire, strip the wire, turn the wire. So you have to make this perfect little J hook right here, because that J hook then has to perfectly fit the shape and contour of the round shaft of the screw head, and then you have to have it all tucked underneath there so you hopefully don't see any brass wire, because where you see brass wire, that's where it can possibly short and cause a problem, okay? Old school, we've been doing it forever. This works, it still works, but when an unexperienced electrician, AKA some homeowner or hack, tries to do this and doesn't understand everything we're teaching, we got problems and we ended up burning houses down. So
That's the old way. Let's look at the new way, okay? First, here is the new way. What? That's the white side, that's the neutral, there's the blacks, that's the load side or the hot wire, and then green for the ground wire. And do you guys see any metal sticking out anywhere? Okay, this doesn't matter, there's no current running through that. That's our safety wire. What we're looking for is where this enters into the back of the receptacle, there is absolutely no metal exposed whatsoever. Matter of fact, I can hold this whole thing when it actually has current and it will not shock me. I just did it 20 minutes ago right over there, okay? Super great safety on so many levels, super cool, okay? So, new method, all we have to do is take whatever wire we're using, we need to strip back the insulation by 1/2 of an inch, and that's it. And then we get to head on over to our practice stations right over there, and we will go ahead and go through the process of taking it from electrical current coming into our house and how it's gonna flow through a receptacle and into a light switch and then turn on our lights. So this is a practice station that we developed to help us go through this over and over again, because practice makes us great builders, and that's what we're gonna do next. So let's cut and head on over. Okay, so this is our practice station, and this is how we're gonna learn a few things about electricity, how the flow and the direction needs to be engineered correctly so that it keeps us safe and sane with alternating current. We're carrying about 120 volts of electricity through an extension cable, and then we're gonna bring it down to our input wire, which is this little bad boy right here. And this again has a 3-pin, 1, 2, 3. So we got ground plus neutral and hot, and then that transfers the electricity into our Romex cable, which then enters our first junction box right here at the bottom of the wall. Some terminology: junction box slash J box. If I say J box, this is what I'm meaning. It allows us to bring all of our hot and electrical wires into a safe little container, and allows us to make all of our connections that we need, add any fixture that we need, and then safely put it all back into the junction box, put a cover plate on so it's completely safe, and both for us from the exterior and safe on the interior. No wires crossing, nothing shorting out, nothing having problems. So junction boxes create the flow. So in our design, loads coming in, load's got to transfer from one wire to the second wire. That's going to go behind the wall into junction box number 2. Junction box number 2 is going to have a switch. The switch leg is the next combination of wires here, which then leads up to our light. So the flow is in, through, switch leg, up and back. And we're gonna wire in 2 things. So I'm gonna zoom in so you can go ahead and see how all those connections are made in our first junction box right here. All right, junction box number 1 is gonna take this little beauty right there, okay? So that is a receptacle, AKA a plug, wall outlet, whatever you wanna call it, but in the trades we call it a receptacle. And so we have a combination of these cool new lever latch connections. So we're gonna start by opening all of those levers. So there's the green, you just push it back to open. We're gonna use one black, we gotta use the second black to pull the wire through. Opposite side, we're gonna open up the white and the white, which is our neutral wire, and now we are all set. We have already come in and stripped all of our wires back to our 1/2 inch specification. And so now it's a beautiful thing, just color coded. Follow the colors, baby. Okay, let's start with our black, which is gonna be our hot line. So the flow's coming in. We know this is the primary load line coming in, so we're gonna put that at the bottom. Slide all the way in until it stops, and then close the lever. Give a little tug test. Grab the second black wire, which is gonna be the load flowing out and heading to the next receptacle or whatever. Again, sliding all the way in until it stops, close the lever. Let's flip it over. We'll do our neutrals. So there's our neutral coming in from the main source. We'll put that on the bottom, pushing all the way in, latching, and take our neutral that's passing through and heading to the next J box, lock and load it. All right, we're 33% there. No, 66% there. Flip back over. Now we got green. Green is for our ground wire, and but we got a problem. I've got 2 green wires and only 1 connection. Never ever do this. Take this and try to cram 2 into 1. No bueno. Okay. What we're going to do is it only receives 1 wire, so we're going to use a different connector that looks something like that. Look at that little bad boy. Okay, another lever connector, which is super sweet, because if we then take just a little piece of bare copper wire, call that a jumper wire, about 5 inches long, and we're going to load that into slot number 1. So same thing, push it all the way in, close the lever, give it a pull test. Now we're going to take the other 2 and we're going to feed them into slot 2 and 3, and that then makes us have a 3-way connector, taking the the ground wire and splitting it, okay? And allowing us behind here, inside the insulated plastic, is a metal connection rod, which then makes all of the connections together. So now we can then take the one side and go into our ground on our plug side, lock it in, and voila, we got ourselves a wired plug. Okay, for today, for sure, we're gonna use this super cool testing tool. So that tells us everything, if we're doing it right, doing it wrong, and more importantly, it tells us what's wrong. So the little lighted code tells us everything from an open ground to an open hot to a reverse neutral and ground. Whatever we need to know, we plug that in, and that'll let us know if coming in from the load, we've got our first junction box wired correctly. Let's go to number 2. All right, now let's go ahead and wire in our switch that will take the current coming inbound from the junction box below and flowing through to the switch leg wire going up to the light. And these wire a little bit differently. Let's take a look. I've got 2 black connections. I flip it over. I got 1 green connection, but what? Where's the white connections? Hey, the good news is the common doesn't flow through the switch. It just flows from the inbound to the outbound wire. And so we're gonna use another one of our clamp connectors. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, just has 2 posts. So this is easy peasy. We come in here and we load incoming, pull, tug test, outgoing, tug test, white wire, common are done. Okay, then let's grab our plug, or excuse me, receptacle. And again, we're looking at this particular brand has its information down here. So we're gonna put that in the off position, on position. So we're gonna take the lower hot wire connection and we're gonna use the incoming load line to go into that one. So we push until it stops, lock it, pull it, test it. Then we're gonna take our switch leg going out, open the lever, slide that in, lock it into place. Super good. All right, down to the green, which is the ground. We got the same scenario. I got 2 ground wires, but only 1 place to put it. So we're gonna use our little jumper cable technique. Back to this little ditty. We're gonna load that into slot number 1, lock it, pull test. Then we're gonna take number 2, slide all the way to the back, lock it in, pull test. Number 3, lock it in, pull test. Take our little jumper wire. That's what's gonna go into the back of our light. Ground to green. Memorize that, y'all. Ground to green, ground to green, ground to green. Cool. All right, guess what? We're done, baby. Cool. All right, here we go, crew. Now it's time to test. All right, there's our main power coming in from our source. We're gonna connect it to our incoming load line right here, and we will see if we test out properly on our first receptacle right here. And look at that, we got 2 orange lights. According to the code, everything is good to go. Wired completely correct. The outbound flows through up to this wire. Now let's see if the light switch works. 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Man, this is why I love electrical, man. That was so much fun. Okay, Nothing better than knowing it's all wired. We didn't throw a fault, it didn't break, it didn't pop, it didn't do anything. The electricity is flowing beautifully. Okay, hey, that is what we taught. I want to report our students did phenomenal. I'm going to say 100% success. I literally taught them the new tools, the new techniques, used the new thing, brought them over here just like this, and within 10 minutes, we had this whole thing wired up just like I've done it. Everything tested out well, and they got the full experience of going from I don't know anything about electricity to wiring their own receptacle and their own light switch, and that is what we wanted to do in this day 2 of our rough electrical learning experience. Because tomorrow we go back over here, and it's time for them to take the basic rough electrical knowledge that they have, and we're going to start drilling and pulling and stapling and putting in junction boxes and roughing the wire into each of those junction boxes according to the electrical plan. And so stay tuned, that'll be tomorrow's episode. So thanks so much, you guys. Have a great one, and we'll see you tomorrow.